What's up, everyone? My name is Justin Odisho. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast. It's been over a year since I've done a new episode, so today I'm doing it through Zoom. We got this whole lockdown thing going on. I figured this is a great time to start up a sort of new season of the show going forward. Today with me, I've got Josh Olufemi. If you enjoy my channel, you're definitely probably familiar with his channel, or if you're not, would enjoy his channel. He does a lot of the same visual editing programs, teaching Adobe, Premiere, After Effects, but also has a lot of experience on set as a director, as a video creator. So Josh, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming on.
Awesome. Pleasure to be here, Justin.
Yeah, dope. So for anyone that doesn't know you, real quick, give me just a real quick rundown.
No, real quick. Channel is called Josh Olufemi. We do a bunch of video production, breakdowns, tutorials. We talk to industry veterans, anything short form. So we don't really deal with feature film based stuff. It's all music videos, commercials, lifestyle videos. We talk about video production, short form video production.
Awesome. And he's gotten over a couple 100,000 subscribers on the channel at this point now. We're trying. Millions of views. And I wanted to just jump right into some actual practical tips that someone who is listening to this, especially since you focus on the music video side, might be able to take away from this and use, because I'm much more focused on the post-production I like to think of myself as an internet editor. So why don't we start off quickly with what do you actually do on set, as a director?
Very good question. So what you do on set as a director is you are the vision of the set. So you need to have picked, your job is to pick the perfect team that's able to best perform every one of the individual positions that you need on set. So whether it be your producer, your AD, these are people that are more in the realm of managing things and setting stuff up, as opposed to the creative. Whether it be your G&E team, your grip and electric team, they are in charge of implementing your vision, as well as your cinematographer, setting up lighting, setting up equipment, all this stuff. So it's your job to cast the vision and then to be the leader actually on set and in post-production as well.
So this already brings up a kind of a question in my mind. A lot of people nowadays, they make videos, right? They might make a music video for their friend. They make videos for themselves. And there's a distinction now between these traditional things, all of these things that you just mentioned, director with someone with lighting, someone who carries the grip, someone who does all this stuff, versus the guy that's just at home, or the person that's just at home making a video. What is do you see this distinction between the traditional world and the modern world kind of changing as technology is getting cheaper and more affordable? And where do you see that going?
Yeah, so I think it's really cool. I think you're talking about kind of the difference between a one-man band type of team as well, far as instead of as opposed to a professional full production team.
Yeah,
I think that's where most of us start, and I think it's really important to be able to have that ability to be the DP and set up your lighting and do your producing and all that stuff by yourself, so that when you get up to the point when you have those budgets that are big enough to hire all those people out, you kind of have at least an elementary knowledge of every type of position, on a film team, so that you can direct efficiently.
How does one make that transition? Because it seems a lot of times you'll see people talking about it, and there's just this jump from one to the other. But how does one get to the point, or when should one stay a one-man band? What are some of the pros and cons? Because have you done a little bit of both, I'm assuming?
Definitely. That's a really good question, man. So me, I kind of got thrown into it a couple years ago. I had a mentor, Matt Alonzo, amazing guy. You can see him on my channel a ton. He's been doing this for years. He's a legend in the industry. And I got a rather large budget. I got a $100,000 budget, kind of out of nowhere. Mainly, I think, because I had a YouTube channel a few years ago. And but to be honest, I didn't really know what I was doing as far as on the professional end. Don't tell anyone. But I made sure the client was in a safe place. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just hire Matt. Matt has been doing these type of budgets and hire for forever, right? And so I was like, hey Matt, I want you to be my producer. I want you to be my DP even, and I want you to be my mentor. And I'm gonna hire you throughout this entire process. It was actually a crazy thing because I was moving to Australia the day after my shoot. So it was crazy. This whole thing happened where we ended up having to actually push the second half of the shoot back. I was like overseas. It was crazy. Longer story later. But basically what I was able to do is I got the budget first, and then I figured out how to implement that budget late just by hiring the right people. That's the beautiful thing, man. Like when you have the big budgets, you can take projects that are a little bit outside of your comfort zone because in the end you can hire the right people. And in the end, a professional production, it's all on you in the end, but it has a lot to do with just being able to be smart enough and being humble enough to hire the people that specialize in these specific skills. And that's kind of what I realized. I was like, oh, okay, it's not all up to me. So that's kind of a comforting thing I tell everyone when they're moving into the kind of scarier, high budget arena of film production. And then I feel like the years of doing stuff by myself really helped as well, as far as just like the basic creative and kind of understanding on the basic level what everyone was doing.
Yeah, I have that brings up a lot of points. So like, first of all, you don't have to say specifically contract wise, but who gave you, why would someone give someone $100,000 to make a video in the first place? And then also you say you hired this guy, Matt Alonso, great director and everything, but like, where did you find him in the first place? Like you got this job. Did you go looking on LinkedIn? Like, where did you go looking?
Okay, good question. I got the budget just because I had a YouTube channel.
So someone saw a video of yours and like reached out and said, I want to shoot a music video, or what was that? Someone
saw that I knew how to teach film production, and they just trusted me with a massive budget. God bless them,
For
they basically what happened was they trusted that I was able to figure it out, and I was in the end. I was just saying that behind the scenes that it was a first.
It was a learning process,
but we made it work, right? So like, as far as meeting Matt, I had been teaching film production before I even had a YouTube channel for 3 years at this community college. Shout out to Santa Barbara City College, near here. And I had asked Matt to come and just speak at one of my classes years ago. So that's how we started our relationship. And then he's been my mentor for years since then. And then I got that project a couple years back.
Okay, yeah, I think that speaks to a lot of really good things. First of all, something I haven't asked you yet, but as someone who is working on jobs, working on sets, things like that, it looks like you already were teaching kind of maybe as a part-time thing or something at a university setting. Why would, I noticed you started your channel in 2014. One, we already see like an example of a cool opportunity that has given, but why in your words did you decide to start a channel? And I kind of also want to get into the YouTube side of things and how you're thinking about content strategy and whatnot.
Yeah, great question again, man. Like, I started a channel because I was already teaching. I was teaching for years. I had all this curriculum that I was kind of like just doing the same curriculum again and again every year. And I'm like, I could translate a lot of this to YouTube pretty easily. And that's kind of where I started out. It was actually kind of boring stuff at the beginning. A lot of just like screen captures. This is how you do Premiere. People didn't even see my face. Showed a bunch of random transitions. Yeah.
And then, so have you, like, obviously I think you'd say yes, but do you feel like that was a worthwhile decision and investment to start teaching on YouTube? Because obviously, I mean, at the university setting, were they probably paying you like a salary kind of thing?
Community college.
A community college. So was that also like
So best experience of my life, right? Like teaching at that community college, I had never taught before. They were so nice. They taught me how to teach. I had no idea how to teach before. Pay was not the best, but it's a community college, part-time in a community, so it's like, oh, that's fine. but I still talk to those people now. Those are some like my best friends. Definitely worth starting the YouTube channel though, just because of the reach. You can reach so much more. It can actually be a career. I advise everyone that they should do the YouTube game, or at least try to, in their own specific realm of specialty. And when I mean YouTube game, I mean tutorial game.
It is, yeah. I noticed something about there is a difference between like just making vlogs about your day versus kind of the reach that basically what can the audience get from you. And when you do tutorials and teaching, it's like you're giving out free knowledge, and it just gets further rather than people watching your vlog. But you said something interesting. They taught you how to teach. Were there like some secret tips or like mindsets that you learned at the college setting that from, I guess, like older professors or something?
Okay, so it's a little bit different teaching in front of a class than on YouTube. So many different things. So YouTube's so much easier because you can cut stuff up, all your ums. I remember the thought of teaching in front of a class every single day, because my class was every single day. It wasn't like 3 times a day, just the way they had it set up. And a whole hour. Actually, no, I taught 2 classes. Sorry. Okay, that's not true. It's been a few years.
It's been a while.
I did teach every day. I taught 2 classes. I did teach every day, yeah. I taught 2 classes every day. But literally having to be able to talk nonstop for an hour scared the living daylights out of me. Because that's just 2 hours, I guess. It was 2 classes, right? That in itself was what I had to learn how to do. And they were very, very patient with me, because it took me a few months, I remember, just to get used to that. I'm not sounding like a complete idiot. It's like I knew the material. I'm like, I've done this. I know how to talk about the 3 pillars of exposure. But being able to communicate that was a long process. And that I really appreciate that, because their patience is what set me up for the whole YouTube game. Just being able to like even organize curriculum, how to create curriculum for, weeks out, months out.
Yeah, it definitely translates. That I feel like that was one of the hardest things for me to learn, is like I knew everything in my head, but that's a whole nother skill to be comfortable speaking on camera. That took me years, and I'm still sometimes not.
Yeah, before teaching at school, I hadn't the last time I had done any public speaking was years ago, actually, when I was in college. And I was like, that scared me. Like I was like your normal. Yeah, I remember creative writing class. I think it was the last time I had to public speak before that. It was a horrible experience.
All right, so changing gears a little bit. Speaking of all that stuff that you used to teach, I did enjoy a really good video on your channel called like the evolution of music videos.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That video is really captivating in the way that you spoke kind of like in a documentary style for 10 plus minutes. Do you script out those kind of things?
Yeah, everything that you hear me say on YouTube is scripted out. I've tried doing the just freestyling, talking, and it never works. I'm trying to get to the point where I can do that. You're really good at that. I've listened to a lot of your breakdowns, and you're just like, you'll just go on, and I'm like, wow, yeah. So shout out to that.
Yeah, 2 different styles. I usually go off the cuff, but I definitely was inspired by that video that I watched in preparation for this, and
nice.
I kind of do want to get into some of those things that you touched on in that video for the potential music video director that's watching this, and touching on all the stuff that we talked about so far. So what are what is storyboarding? You hear this word a lot. Like people ask me about like, should I storyboard before the video, or like, what's your process? And I tell them like, I don't really storyboard because I'm not a music video director. I'm much more of like an editor in the post-production side of things. So what is a storyboard? Why should someone use it, or who should use it?
Good. Okay, perfect. So I was just talking about this in my last podcast thing with Matt Alonzo. Matt Alonzo is the central key to all this in my life as far as learning how to do pre-production. I was a complete jerk on set for years of my life because I never did pre-production. And I expected everyone on set to kind of just telepathically understand what I was thinking. I realized after talking to Matt, after he started mentoring me, that hey, you need to have a pre-production process set up. Meaning you need to have a treatment. A treatment will include a storyboard that basically tells both your client as well as your crew what the heck your vision is, right? So so let me think. There's all these words that I don't know if I have quite the right words correctly, but in my mind, a treatment is going to have like a shot list as well as a storyboard. And the shot list goes crazy into detail. Every shot, what the lighting setup is for that shot, camera movement, lens type, camera angle, shot type, all that stuff. That's for your DP and your G&E crew. When I say G&E crew, I mean your grip and electric crew, and your person operating your camera. So they know before, you don't even have to talk to them. They know like a week before. So you need to talk to them beforehand, but you don't need to talk to them even on set as much as you would have to. They already know what you want. And then you create a simplified version of your treatment to your client. It looks more like a brochure. And that's just a bunch of pictures. You want to dumb it down for them. You just want to get them excited. You want to get them to the point where they understand what that edit is going to look like, what that final product is going to look like before you even start shooting, so that you're able to manage expectations. That's like a big word. You want to manage expectations. You won't be in like it sucks when you're like in editing and you give them like your first draft after you finish editing your first draft, and your client's like, what the heck? Wasn't expecting this. I wanted $100,000 video, even though my video budget was $200, you know? So the question is, what is a treatment?
Well, you touched on a lot of
A
good
storyboard. Okay.
like you said, there's a lot of these words like treatment, and like, because if I'm not aware of all this, I think treatment is like what I get at the doctor. Like, so do you actually sit, like, what is this? Are you like drawing pictures with a pencil and paper? Are you taking reference frames from like other videos that you like and saying like, this is kind of like the inspiration? What are you presenting? Because you don't have the final video. So what are you showing them?
You're right. I didn't go into any of that at all. So a treatment is a vision, and it involves a lot of words, and it involves a lot of pictures. And all you're doing is you're trying to give your crew and your client what you have in store for them as far as the video. So as far as references, you could either draw all those pictures, you know, scene 1, scene 2, performance scene for music video, B-roll, or you can, I can't draw. So I usually get reference pictures from other music videos, or just, Upsplash, Unsplash, Google.
Really good. So those are useful tools, I think, for someone, whether they're creating a music video or just it's kind of like, would you say that it's comparable to in writing, like a rough draft or an outline of a paper or an essay that you're going to write or something like that?
Yeah, I guess so. And you want to finalize it. You don't want it just to be a rough draft. You want to go over the treatment with your client, make sure they're good with it, and have a final treatment. It's like your final draft. That's before you actually start shooting. The more final your treatment can be by the time your production day comes, the more stress-free your post-production process is, because there won't be any surprises.
Really good. So basically, like, planning, but again, this is something for when you're working this leans toward the traditional industry side of things, but there's no reason that an individual, let's say, I kind of want to get into this a lot because I assume that most of the people that are going to be listening to this are going to be those one-man band type of creators. So I don't see any reason why they couldn't use a tool like that. Would you agree? To present?
Yeah. In fact, if you noticed, there's absolutely no difference between, you still need to present to your client a treatment, for the same reasons as if you were working with a team. A lot of the time, though, you may not be working with a full film team. You may be working with just a guy or a friend to help you set your lights up. It still helps to give them the treatment so that you're not like, trying to communicate in front of your client on set when it's like a team of 2 people. So you can come in as a professional unit. Everyone just needs to be on the same page. Like I was saying before, I would literally get to the point back in the day. Hopefully, I don't think I still do this now, but I would just start yelling at my crew, like, because they you know, and it's not their fault, it was my fault because they couldn't read my mind, and I was like trying to communicate. I was trying to like think up stuff on set. You shouldn't be creative on set. You should do all that creative stuff beforehand, and you're just implementing. All you're doing is just, you're a robot on set implementing what you already thought of, because you're dealing with all this other crazy stuff on set. You're dealing with like people showing up late, people trying to figure out, you know, calling you, hey, where's the parking lot? I don't know where to park. All this random uncreative stuff that you need to figure out. You don't have time to be creative on set. It should have been done beforehand.
Yeah, you hear that this term a lot, like however long you think a project's going to take, it's probably going to take twice as long. So plan for that. And when you said people calling like, where do I park? They need a parking ticket, like all that stuff we don't think about, and it takes up a lot of time. But I kind of want to get into for like, I guess the main core of the rest of this interview, I think could be made up on this. This gets into what I think people really want to know is like dealing with clients. So as a one-man band, or we're talking about all this stuff like show the client your treatment, show the client. And I think there's a whole art of dealing with clients here that a lot of people are wondering about or confused about. So the first thing I'd love to get your perspective on, I guess let's talk about a big one, like pricing. So like, how do you negotiate with a client? How do you present to a client? Do you ask them, what's your budget? Do they ask you, what's your rate? Do you present to them packages and plans? Like, how do you, I know it's different for everyone, but like, how do you see it in your experience?
What I do is I try to get to understand what their expected scope of work is to the most minute detail as possible. And then instead of even having to negotiate too much, I'll just tell them, this is what I expect out of a 2-day music video shoot for a 3-minute song with a little bit of VFX, 2 locations. I want to get, say, $5,000. Everything on top of that I'm putting onto this budget is going right into the production, as far as, you know, the type of location you want to, you know, all this random stuff, how many props you want and all that stuff. And I'll give them a budget without even negotiating, just basically based off the reality of my experience. Like, this is how much this costs. If we want to negotiate, it'll be the external things and not my core fee, you know. And then what you do is you itemize everything so that, you know, you don't come up, you say you give them a $20,000 budget and they're like, $20,000, I've never done that before. If you itemize it, you're educating them through the process and you're justifying your budget. And usually at that point, you know, if they have the money, they'll be like, okay, that makes sense. Or if they don't have the money, they'll be like, I can't afford it.
So where are you? So if you said one part of these numbers is coming from like, this is just strictly how much is going to cost to rent a fancy car for the day, right? This is how much it's going to cost to rent this studio, pay my employees and lighting, if that's what you're hiring.
First thing is you, though. First, I'm assuming you want to direct and edit. I usually hire a DP at this point, but I usually direct, edit, and color and do VFX. So my $5,000 is gonna just be that's me right there. And then my crew kind of has a pretty set rate too, so I throw that in there, $5,000 plus another $2,000 or something, right? That's just all base costs. And then you start talking to your client. Okay, you want to shoot at a club? Okay, it's gonna cost this much. You want a nice car? It's gonna shoot that much. Rental off a Turo, you know. Yeah, you just break it down for them.
So how do you decide? Where do you come up with this? This sounds like a vague question, but I think it's important. Like, where do you come up with this $5,000? I had someone ask me, a younger guy, like, I just don't know how to price myself. Like, so we're talking about time. You're in your head, you're thinking, I know I'm gonna have to color, I know I'm gonna have to shoot for 3 days. Are you breaking it down in like, this is going to take me, based on my years of experience, I know this is going to take me like 2 weeks or something like that, or X amount of hours? Are you breaking it down like based on the time it's going to take and how much you want to earn based on the time that you're spending because of opportunity costs and this gets into so much interesting stuff.
Don't hold me on $5,000, by the way, anyone watching. That's just an estimate. But usually in my mind, I'm like, okay, I want to make at least $75 an hour. And so the question is, how many hours is this production going to take? And instead of saying, hey, I'm 75 an hour, that's not going to really help your client because they're going to be like, well, I don't know how many. You just say 5K, that's your flat. I'm going to be careful now. Let's say, for an example, you use 5K. That's your fee for that specific project. And then it's up to you to make sure you don't go over your hours. You
Yeah,
know.
that's one thing I would agree with you on is I don't like to be hourly on projects because I like to think of it as like deliverable. Like you want me to color grade your music video? I kind of know how long that's going to take in my head, and I also kind of know how much I want to make for putting in that work, and that's based on for me like I could be doing X, Y, and Z other things. I don't want to be making less than this much if I'm going to spending this much time on it, or if I enjoy working with a client, if they're
Mm-hmm.
going to bring me more opportunities, I get more flexible. Um, and and now I kind of just forgot there's so much that goes into pricing. But
Yeah.
with a deliverable, yeah, with hourly, it's like, well, if I'm making 70 an hour, I'll just spend as much, I'll just drag out the project. But if you focus on the deliverable side of things, then it's up to you to kind of get it done in that reasonable time frame. If you get it done more efficiently, that's better. But like you also have to remember how do you deal with revisions? Like, do you say you only get three
Ah, yes.
revisions?
The wonderful world of revisions. I'll tell you a trick that I learned from one of my best friends. His name's Josh Troy. I learned this completely from him. You go into a project as a consultant, not as a director. I don't know if I think we talked about this before. So if you go in, so you don't go in as a production company that's like, oh, hi big client, hi big A-list celebrity artist. I'll do whatever. I'll be your slave. I'll do whatever you want. You come in as a consultant because that's what you are. This is what I believe would be an amazing video. I feel like, okay, what's your brand? Okay, based on your branding, I think you should have this type of editing style, this type of lighting, a little bit more moody. I want, this type of, and you do that to a certain extent. You don't want to just lord over your artist. You want their vision to be incorporated as well, but you just have that mentality. To a certain extent, you judge the extent that you can push that. Once you get to post-production, they view you as the director, right? You have the experience. So they're going to be a lot less open to start being Mr. Big Shot or Miss Big Shot on you and being like, I don't like that. I want to change that. So you just psychologically, you flip the kind of the mental, mood of things, and they'll be instead of having to at the end be like a jerk, like, no, I don't think you're right, and you're arguing with your client. You never want to get to the point where you're outwardly arguing with your client as the professional. So it's a mental game sometimes. But as far as revisions go, usually I'm like, for that flat fee for the music video, we'll do 2 revisions for free. And then after that, you start charging hourly after that.
Yeah, that seems to make sense. And you can gauge like, so this they actually want to get into a really important thing because I know there's someone listening to this right now and they're like, well, you guys are talking about $5,000 and $10,000, $20,000 videos, and I know that I think we've said some stuff that can translate to any level budget, but what advice do you personally have? Because I'm sure you weren't always getting a certain rate that you're commanding now. I'm sure you weren't always working on these big videos. How
Yeah.
did you, or what kind of advice do you recommend for someone to work their way up to like command a higher rate and build up to a higher level? Because maybe right now they're just shooting a video for their homie and they're shooting a video maybe for free, or like, I'll buy you lunch and like
3
something
things.
else.
3 things. First of all, the easy one, just don't be afraid to charge a higher rate. Most people are just afraid to charge a higher rate, and that needs to be a confidence thing. You just need to you need to be like, hey, I've been shooting music videos for 3 years. How about I charge a higher rate? Most people I talk to, they should be charging 3 times what they're charging. Second thing is, don't be afraid to work for free just to get your portfolio up to a certain level. Get like 3 really dope music videos. We're talking about music videos right now, right? That you don't even, and you mentally say, I don't care how I got to these music videos, meaning I don't really care whether I got paid $2 or $1 million. I just want to get these 3 videos in my portfolio before the end of the summer or something, right? After that, treat everything as a sunk cost. And after that, then you can think, okay, from now on, I'm a professional. I want to start making money. I'm going to be charging what I deserve and actually value my time. And then the third thing after that is don't be afraid to hire a producer. A lot of people, I remember I was like this. I was like, a producer, that's like a large chunk of my, or that's a significant part of my budget. But the secret is it isn't necessarily. A producer is literally anyone, even if it's an inexperienced friend, that takes the non-creative aspect of film production and gives you more time and space to just focus on the creative. So someone that's able to just like book the location, be like a go-between between you and the client. You know, on the set day, everyone has that producer's phone number so that if they're trying to find a parking spot, they're able to call the producer up and not you. You'd be amazed how more efficient and how beautiful the end result of your productions will be by having a producer. That is such a big tip that I hope someone takes hold of that. And you don't have to worry about paying a producer tons of money. You could, I remember having friends come in for free just because, you know, they knew I didn't have the budget and we were just trying stuff out and they were down to experience it, learn off of that.
Yeah, just something to do. Like I have some friends that have some businesses of their own, and like one of my friends has he he him and his wife do like they sell like skin products, and I was just bored one day and we all went over there and helped them package their stuff, like put this plastic seal and put the labels on them. Like, I'm not getting paid for that, but it was just like, you know, something friends do.
And I'm sure that friend was an enjoyable person to talk to. You know, you need to make sure that as a director, you are a enjoyable person to talk to. You know, you don't want to have that reputation as, I don't want to work for Josh because he yelled at me last shoot. Specifically for dealing with low budgets. You have to realize that how are you motivating your crew? You know, when you're in the high budget realm, you know, money is a big motivator and you almost have a little bit of a break from that. You still want to be a nice person, but you have a little bit more of a break. When you're dealing with the low budgets, man, you need to make sure that your crew is either feels like they're being taught stuff. You know, maybe you know, they just you want to motivate them to work by how you're treating them, even more than normal.
Yeah, nobody wants to not make money and get yelled at.
Like, why am I here?
But yeah, I feel like we touched on a lot of really good things. So whether you're just starting out and building up, or taking some of those things that you said that are principles that you apply on bigger production sets with people. And I think you can still take those same principles of negotiation and professionalism and use them if you're a solo creator listening to this as well. So I want to keep these like concise and packed full of info. So I feel like we touched on a lot of good stuff. And I think one last topic I want to dive into is basically like what you're doing with your YouTube channel, like because you have these two things now. You take on projects professionally, but how do you view that in balance with this YouTube opportunity and this digital platform? And what are your content goals and strategies?
It's been hard, man. But I'll say that I always want to be in the field as well as teaching off of that. I want to teach off of my experience in the field so that I'm always up to date. So I never want to be the person where I'm just teaching forever and not actually experiencing what I'm teaching about. So I'm always going to need to be doing both. It has been hard though. One thing that's made it a lot easier is I have a team now. I have a team of people that are helping me create content on the channel. Shout out to Nick Koo over in Sydney, Australia, and my bro Herman Huang, aka Coffee Liquor, over in Vancouver, Canada, and Quinn Murphy over in NYC, and a couple other people too. They're kind of coming in on and off, but it's a process. You got to be organized.
Where'd you find these people? If I can cut you off real quick, just for anyone wondering, like you're just pulling names out of New York, and like where?
Oh yeah. Okay, good call. Good point. So I'd been a fan of Nick Koo for years. And I was finally like, hey, Nick, would you be on my channel? He was like, yeah. longer story behind that, but he's an amazing VFX artist. Quinn and Coffee Liquor, aka Herman, I found off of Black with No Cream. All of you guys that don't know Ben Haggerty, he's an absolute genius. Black with No Cream, the best group of what's it called? Creative Collective. It's on Facebook, Instagram. Black with No Cream. It's open to everyone. It's amazing.
I was the first guest interview.
What? So I'm talking about, yo, so we both have history.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it looks like you've been building leverage on you're using the leverage that you've built, and you're in these different communities and using social media, reaching out to people, because, why would they want to work with you? Well, you also are providing them an interesting opportunity to reach people. So it kind of, hopefully people can see how that all.
And we're paying them. Payment, the great motivate. I mean, like, they're just great people. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we deserve to pay. We need to pay them a lot more than we do. But that's the goal, to be able to pay more and more. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, yeah, like working with the team, an interesting idea to scale, which I probably need to do more of. But so finally, like actually getting into making videos, like, is there subscriber goals you're reaching for? Is there monetization strategies and goals you're reaching for? Is there view, like upload counts? Like, how do you go about trying to grow your channel?
Yes. 1 million subscribers before the end of the year. If it doesn't happen, I'm leaving YouTube forever. This year.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, we love to expand more and more. It's always a journey. I would love to continue to get more and more distinguished guests on, interview more awesome people. I'm thinking mainly in the music video industry, but I'm expanding definitely into the VFX world as well. We're definitely getting more into master classes, putting a bunch of educative, what's that word? A lot of material behind a paywall, basically. Yeah, connect with another thing, we want to connect with more companies, hardware companies. That's kind of been a big plan in this next quarter.
So would you say that from a monetization point of view, you've had to really get not creative, but you've had to apply some business principle into it, actually make products and courses, and not just coast on like getting views and YouTube is going to pay you a bunch of money?
Oh yeah, man. Figuring out how to monetize a channel is a journey unto itself. We could talk forever about that, and I'm willing to talk about any aspect of that. We've learned so much. YouTube, Google AdSense pays you crap. You can't rely on that. But the point is knowing how to figure out how to add value. People will not support your channel unless you're giving them value, apart from the Google AdSense stuff, which happens kind of automatically. So that's kind of the thing. Okay, how do we do this in a way that is mutually beneficial to both parties, so that we can actually afford to hire more people and put out more great content? It's been fun.
Yeah, that we could do a whole nother episode on that. And for anyone who's curious, I have a bunch of videos on my channel on like how to earn revenue online and how to monetize and different ideas. And also you could just take a look and watch it, like what channels like mine and Josh. You can always kind of like, actions speak louder than words. So you can see like, oh, this person's offering a masterclass course. This person has products on their website. This person's working with XYZ brand. If you read between the lines, you can kind of see the different ways that they're monetizing, and hopefully get these bigger picture themes if that is you. But I think we did touch on a lot of great things, useful info for someone listening. Is there any other like final words of wisdom or anything cool that you're working on that? Oh, I wanted to make one point too that you said about like interviewing more people. I also want to interview more people like this. Here I am interviewing you, starting this podcast back up again, because I think it is almost like a waste of all that leverage that you've built if I don't cash in on it in a way. And that maybe is not the right word, but I have this platform, I have all these cool people in the community, so like why don't I also bring other people onto the platform use it rather than just like keep it all hoarded up until it withers away and becomes irrelevant. And then if you do that, it like will keep growing rather than withering away. But that's
more interesting.
Mutually beneficial to both parties too. Anyone you bring on, they're like, whoa, I get to be in front of the Justin Odisho audience, and then you get a good point of view, maybe tapping into like a vacuum of knowledge that you may not know. That's what I've been doing. All these talented VFX artists, man, they be tackling some crazy stuff. I'm like, yo, I'm glad you're explaining this.
Yeah. Well, if anyone is listening to this, definitely go check out Josh's channel. Just before this interview, I was watching a bunch of really interesting interviews, like the one you did with so you did a bunch with music video directors, like the evolution of music videos. I found those really interesting. So I would recommend everyone go check it out. Josh Olufemi on YouTube. That's Olufemii. And if you're listening, you can listen to this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere podcasts are, Apple Podcasts. So if you want to check out, I do have a back catalog if you want to check it out, of all of the episodes in my playlist in the Justin Odisho podcast playlist. Josh has actually been on one time previous if you want to check out like a group chat, see the evolution from then till now. And definitely go subscribe to Josh. Check out his channel. I've got a couple interview snippets of him interviewing me coming out on his channel. So anything else you want to say to the people?
Keep creating, guys. And if you do end up making YouTube content, please invest in great sound equipment. Sound is more important than the visuals. Great
final point. So thanks everyone so much for listening. Josh, thanks so much for taking your time and coming on. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.